Yo YouTube, this is 60 FPS Tech. I wanted to make a quick video with you about why I think Firefox is the best browser to be using in 2018. This is going to be a bit of an opinion video. At the end, I'm hoping to convince you guys why you should be using Firefox. I want to talk about one of the things that makes Firefox awesome, that I really like using it for, and hopefully convince you guys by the end that you should be using it too. So to get started, we have to talk about Chrome. You cannot talk about web browsers in 2018 and not talk about Chrome and compare them to Chrome, and that's fair. Chrome revolutionized web browsing. It was so fast, it worked so well. It just worked and loaded every page super quick. So we also know that back in the day, Firefox was pretty slow. I mean, let's say it, right? Old versions of Firefox were garbage, absolute garbage. They took forever to load web pages, and the browser itself was really slow. Well, I'm really happy to say that since the introduction of Firefox Quantum, that's no longer the case. Firefox is actually a really fast browser. They've rewrote the entire code from the ground up, and they've now supporting multi-threading and multi-core processors in a much better way. And the side effect of that is now that the browser is actually really fast. It's no longer the case that web pages load faster in Chrome than in Firefox. It's actually the opposite. In general, pages load faster on Firefox than they do in Chrome. And a lot of people don't know that, so I wanted to touch on that and make sure that you guys were aware. So the game has changed, right? Web browsers are innovating all the time. It's always good to make sure that the web browser you're using is the best web browser and that you're using it for the right reasons in the right way. So it's always good to reevaluate that every 6 months, take a look at the landscape for web browsers and see how it's changed since you last downloaded your favorite browser. So to just get started, one of the first things I like about Firefox is that it has the default URLs for different pages. So you can do about blank, right? And you can go to a new tab, right? You can go to about add-ons and you can load your add-ons page, and you can go to about preferences and you can load your preferences page. And I always liked that about Firefox because as these things change, as the menus move around, they get shuffled around, you can always find what you need just by typing in the name. You don't have to bother clicking through the menus and trying to remember, is it under the settings, is it under browser, then settings, because those things change all the time. UIs get remade every couple months, and those pages, frankly, they move around, whether it's in Chrome or Firefox or Edge. Every time there's a major update, it feels like you can't find what you needed to find before, that you already knew what it was and where it should be. Well, they moved it, sorry. Well, when you can access these pages, programmatically through URLs, I think that's a nice, convenient feature that a lot of people don't really talk about when they talk about what makes Firefox kind of awesome. So I want to make sure you guys were aware of that. But the big thing here for developers is the About Config page. Now, the About Config page will actually surface all of the internal Firefox settings that you can personally access and modify. And no other browser does this. They elevate all of the programmatic, variables and values that the browser uses at execution time in order to load and serve web pages. This is actually extremely powerful. If you know what you're doing, you can configure your Firefox to do exactly what you want whenever you want at a level that no other browser can get to you. So if we just do something like type in geo, right? The most annoying thing in the world is when you load a page and the page asks you, hey, where are you? I want to collect information on you. I want to know where you are. I want to sell your information and I want to anonymize it and I want to make money off you, right? We've all seen it. You load up a page like Yelp or Google Maps, anywhere that needs your location, even places that don't, even malicious websites that just want to gather information. They'll ask you, hey, where are you? What are you doing, right? Well, you can disable that pop-up globally in Firefox extremely easily. Load the About Config page, just type in geo, and just disable the geo service entirely, right? And no matter what page you go to, whether you've been there or not, you will no longer get those annoying pop-ups asking you for your location, right? And there's other good stuff in here too, like autoplay. HTML autoplay is the most annoying thing in the world. You go to a web page, you go to a news aggregator like news.google.com, you click on some web pages you've never been to, you're just trying to read an article, and you're bombarded with a video. And it gets worse. You scroll down the page, and the video keeps playing. It keeps following you, right? Because it started autoplaying when you got there. There was sound. And it's just, for me, that drives me nuts. I'm trying to read a web page. I'm not trying to be served a video automatically, unbeknownst to me beforehand. So jump into the config, type in autoplay, and set these to false, right? And you won't have to suffer from those autoplaying videos anymore, right? So that's something I've always loved about it. And then the last one is, sorry, I'm probably getting the wrong. No. If you type in notification here, this is the setting we're looking for. You can disable those really annoying desktop notification pop-ups that you get when you're browsing a web page. Let's say you're at, the BBC, or you're at, Gmail. Even Gmail is guilty of this. When you load the page, it says, do you want to get annoying desktop notifications? Pop-ups, basically, when you're outside the browser from this website. It's like asking you, do you want to keep the browser running even when it's closed, to send a request to those websites to ask for updates, and then just let that website push whatever update they want to you without any kind of filtering or moderation on time or content, right? It's so frustrating. Whoever thought of this idea is a terrible, terrible person, because this is a terrible, terrible feature. You can no longer leave websites alone. They follow you. They follow you when the browser's closed, and they annoy you, right? So turn off this setting entirely. What I've done is I've searched for notification, I've sorted by value, and I just take all the values that are true and I turn them to false, right? So we just browser download animate notifications off, browser onboarding notifications finished off, browser web notifications enable false. I've turned all these values to false because I don't want anything to do with desktop notifications in my browser. When I leave a website, I want to leave it forever. I want to leave it as it was and come back to it when I'm ready. I won't be bugged by notifications. So I really, really like that, because this gives you functionality that you would normally need an extension for or an add-on for in Chrome. And those add-ons get developed and then they get abandoned, and you have to find another one, and then Chrome goes 5 versions later, and then it's no longer supported, and then it's no longer developed, and you have to get another one. It's like, this gives you power to change the browser so inherently that normally its functionality you'd only get out of an extension in Chrome. And I think that's great. It says, we trust you as the user. If you know what you're doing, go ahead and modify FireFox in the way that you feel fits your use case, right? So this is just, this about config page is something that I've always loved FireFox, because I just feel like they trust me to change the browser in the way that I want to use it, right? The other one is add-ons. I want to talk about add-ons. So some of the add-ons that I use in my day-to-day workflow that I think make FireFox a really great browser. One of them is called Check for Change. So if we go to news.google.com, or let's say we have a package that we're getting from UPS or USPS, we can just select the page, right? And we can say check for change and check it every 30 seconds, right? What that's going to do is, if we have a page that we're waiting to get notified on, let's say you're waiting for tickets for a concert, but they haven't gone on sale yet, and you want to know when they go on sale, but you gotta keep working. You can't just stare at the page and refresh every 5 seconds. Well, you can tell check for change, highlight the area of the DOM that you want to know when it's going to be modified, and you just set the interval, and it'll refresh the page at that interval, and it'll bring up a little pop-up when that change has occurred. And this is so useful. I've used it on so many different websites. It's crazy. So I'm not sure if we caught a change there. Okay, so we did catch a small change in the web page, and that's the example of the pop-up that it looks like. And I think it actually switches the tab over to the active tab when that change has occurred. So I just find that endlessly useful. There's so many great uses for that. The other one is cookie auto delete. So if we go to if we go to google.com, and then let's say we want to learn how to ride a bike, right? If we click any of these websites, every time we click one, it's going to download a cookie. The cookie's gonna save where you are, who you are, what you clicked on, what you did, what your session cookie is, all this other stuff. It's going to be just basically storing personal information about you every single time. All you're trying to do is learn how to ride a bike. But the web in its infinite wisdom is bombarding you with cookies, right? That is basically, getting into your life and storing personal information about you and reducing your privacy. So auto cleaning cookies, hopefully we'll get a pop-up here in a couple seconds. Cookie auto delete rather, it will remove all those temporary cookies that people are using to track you and where you're going and what you're clicking on, right? So I love this add-on. I use it all the time. I have the threshold set for 30 seconds. There it is. So it deleted 26 cookies. We visited 4 or 5 websites and it deleted 26 cookies. So that was an average of 5 cookies per website that it just nuked, right? And all those 5 cookies per website, what are they doing? They're storing your personal information and what you're doing and what you're up to. Right? And I think it's such a great add-on for removing that information and removing that, that data tracking that basically websites think they can get for free because your user doesn't know anything, and you're removing that ability for them. So I really, really love that. The next one is I don't care about cookies. It's 2018, the nanny state is in full effect, and we have this really annoying pop-up on some websites now where you go to it and it says, do you accept our cookie policy? Yes, no. It's basically saying we're going to put cookies on your web page, but they already put the cookies there, right? If you click OK, the cookies stay. If you click cancel, you're just redirected, right? It's like they've already tracked you and they're just asking you for your permission after the fact in order to do so. Well, with the cookie auto delete in conjunction with I don't care about cookies, you actually block that annoying pop-up that you get on web pages that ask you, do you accept our cookie policy? And my favorite web page that does this, one of them is topgear.com. If you visit the page and you don't have any cookies saved from them, they'll give you that stupid pop-up saying, do you accept our cookie policy? Well, no, I don't accept it, and no, I don't care to click accept on your stupid pop-up. I'm just trying to read the page, right? So this add-on, I don't care about cookies, will block that pop-up. Another one that does it a lot too is the Magic the Gathering website. Every time you visit it on a new browser or with fresh cookies, it's going to give you that stupid pop-up saying, this is Wizards of the Coast, copyright, we have cookies, we put them on your browser, do you accept? Well, I don't know. For some reason, those pop-ups just irk the hell out of me and I can't stand them. So I love this add-on because it blocks all of those pop-ups. And the next one I want to talk about real quick is Keepa. So if you weren't aware of Keepa, it's an Amazon price tracking / history add-on. And what it does is it gives you the best consumer protection available for fake sales. Now, there's something that goes on every time there's a sale, whether it's Black Friday or Christmas. People will raise the price of their product and then artificially reduce it with a sale. So it looks like instead of 15-20% off, it looks like it's 60-70% off. Well, it's not 70% off. They just raised the price and then took off a bigger chunk to keep it the same price. But they actually make you see that it's a bigger deal than it really is, right? They're lying. They're straight up lying to you about the deal and what it's worth to you. With Keepa, you no longer have to fall for those tricks because you can see the full price history of items on Amazon. It's fantastic. So you can see for all time, we can see that this product debuted around $221. Right? And for the last 3 months, we can see that it's been hovering. It was $190. They dropped it to $171. But then they raised it up again to $190 again, and they slowly brought it down and raised it up and brought it down. So this is amazing because you can always make sure that you're not overpaying for something on Amazon and that the deal that you're seeing is actually legitimate, whether it's the actual absolute lowest it's ever been or whether it's just a fake sale perpetuated by the seller in order to get you to buy something. And I think that's so powerful. Really, really like that. LastPass, Res, and uBlock Origin, those are so big we could do a whole another video on them entirely. Suffice it to say, I recommend all 3 of these add-ons, especially uBlock Origin for blocking ads. But I think that's fairly given. I think a lot of people are smartening up and using ad blockers, so I won't spend up too much time on uBlock Origin. The one I really like here is YouTube High Definition. So if you go to YouTube and
hey guys, this is awesome.
I actually just found this video on the trending page, right? And you can see here on the settings, right? You can pick your resolution, you can pick the playback speed and all that stuff. With YouTube High Definition, you can actually set all of these configuration values by default for every single video, right? And whether you can turn off annotations on or off. And I love this add-on because every time you load a video, it's going to load with the settings that you've pre-configured on it, right? And that has just saved me so much time. It auto expands the video, right? It auto sets it to 1440p because I have a 2K display, right? And turns off annotations. It's just a really, really great add-on, and it saved me a ton of time on YouTube. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I think it's just an awesome, awesome add-on. So the other thing to talk about is why Chrome isn't the best browser to use anymore. And it's actually pretty simple. So if we go, you know, who owns Chrome, right? We have to talk about the elephant in the room that is Chrome. It's Google Chrome. Now, some of us use Android, some of us use Apple devices, but you have to understand how much information you are giving Google when you use Chrome, right? They are tracking every website you go to. They are tracking everything you click on. They are tracking all the programs you're running on your computer, probably. You're giving them so much free information. And when I can, I like to keep Google in the dark, right? Google doesn't need to know everything about me. They just need to know as much as they can to make my life better. Anything more than that, and they're making money off me, and I'm not seeing that return for that loss of privacy. So I really love FireFox because, you know, they're not owned by Google. These are independent, you know, developers that care about privacy. They're not trying to make money off you by tracking everything you do on the internet. So if we go to the About Preferences page, right, we can see in privacy security that Firefox is really forward thinking. We have this thing called tracking protection, which blocks third-party cookies and automatically opts you out of being tracked on the internet. And you can always send a do not track signal as well to websites that accept it. And at the bottom, you can opt out of all of the analytics and data reporting. And it's obvious that the people that make Firefox really care about privacy and your security. And that has always been a forward feature of the browser. And by using it, you are telling Google, no, you don't need to know every website I go to, in addition to where I've been and who I text. I mean, if you have an Android phone, Google knows so much about you. It's scary. I'll have to do a video on that and how to prevent that and stop that and delete that tracking information soon. But for now, suffice it to say that not using Chrome is actually a benefit, right? You are pulling that power out of Google's hands, and you are saying, no, this information is mine. It is private. You don't need to know it. And the web works perfectly fine when you don't track every single move I make on the web. So the videos get a little bit longer, so I want to wrap it up, but I want to thank you guys for tuning in. By now, I hope that I have convinced you about some of the things that make Firefox such a great browser, you know, why it would be a good fit for you, why making the switch is a good idea, and hopefully some of the arguments that I made, especially around privacy and the fact that you won't lose your add-ons because a lot of them have parity between Chrome and Firefox. And there are even some add-ons like Check for Change that aren't on Chrome, right? That make Firefox really awesome and a great browser to use. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys were convinced. If not, let me know in the comments why you still like Chrome or another browser over Firefox instead. And I'll check you in the next one. Peace.